Hey guys, today we're going to be making a really simple and delicious chicken and lentil curry, which is going to add a lot of tasty, comforting protein to your week, and it's something that you can knock up in about half an hour and then just have it for 3-4 days in a row for meal prep, or even freeze some down and have it later on for a tasty, healthy meal. I've just broken down a whole chicken. You'd be amazed that this all came from getting one whole chicken and breaking it down at Woolies, one nice free-range chicken, so plenty of meat there, breasts, legs and thighs. I'm going to be leaving the skin on because that's the way it came. You're very welcome to take that off if you don't want the extra calories. I'm using some dried red lentils, amazing thing to have in your pantry. They're great for thickening and bulking out curries. And then a few simple spices and ingredients that anyone can have around, nothing fancy, some coriander, mustard, bay, turmeric, onion, then just some stock, tomatoes and coconut milk. It's going to be really tasty, and I'll show you how to do it right now. Alright, so really simple. I'm going to take you through the process of the curry. In this pot over here, I've got this pot is on kind of a medium to high heat. First thing I'm going to do is seal off our chicken. So I'm going to put a little bit of splash of olive oil in the bottom there, and or a vegetable oil or like a neutral flavored oil. And we're going to brown off our chicken first. So what I'm going to do is, just to make sure this skin is got a little bit of texture to it, doesn't go too rubbery, we're just going to put some salt on and then just seal it off in the pan. It's going to add some nice flavour into the pan, then we'll make our sauce in there later on. So take your pieces with the bones in first, and we're just putting them skin side down. Absolutely, if you're just using chicken thighs or chicken legs, you can definitely do this dish. You can use this dish with pretty much any protein you like. But we're just, for the sake of the video, using this chicken that I've just broken down. So I'll put this on a high heat, and I'm just going to keep that browning there. If you just want to have a look at that, just don't overcrowd your pan, and we'll let that just crisp up for a couple minutes, and I'll come right back. Alright, getting sizzly over here, but we've got just a nice little bit of colour on the skin there, and we're just sealing off the chicken. So I'm going to take that off, drain it on some paper. Just to make sure that, that skin doesn't go too rubbery. You wouldn't really have to do this if you're just using chicken thighs, but with the skin on there, adds a lovely element as long as it's done right. So I'm going to finish off my last few pieces here. Just chuck them in. This dish is a bit of a labour of love. It takes about 15 minutes at the beginning, but then you can let it sit and you've got dinner for a week. So, be right back. Right, so I've sealed off my chicken, and as you can see, I've got a nice little sort of golden brown crust on the bottom of the pan. That is going to get all incorporated into the flavour of everything. We've added a tiny bit more oil, and we're going to start making our spice mix and our curry sauce. This is really versatile. I'm just making it up. I made it up a couple of years ago, and it just seems to work. So I've got one chopped up onion in there. You can just slice it up or chop it up. And then I'm going in with some garlic and ginger paste. Fresh is always better, but these things go in and out of season. Ginger goes off so fast, it takes quite a long time to prepare, and I find that ginger and garlic paste do incorporate better throughout the curry. So I'm using a teaspoon of each of them. This curry is going to easily serve 4 to 6 people. Then we're going to go in with just a good pinch of salt, maybe half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to go in with some spices. So, talking about spices, I really highly recommend, if you're having anything in your pantry, that you invest a few bucks once in buying a lot of spices. Because they're going to add a huge amount of versatility to all your meals, especially when you're in a kind of dieting phase, without adding any extra calories at all. So today, I'm going to be using whole spices, like these coriander seeds that you can see here. Whole spices, but you're absolutely welcome to use the ground spices as well. I'm just showing you the way that I do it at home. So I'm going to add in just about equal quantities of coriander seed, which is about probably a big teaspoon. You have to excuse my lack of measuring, it's not really the way I roll. Mustard seeds going in as well. Whole cumin seeds. Once again, just about a good teaspoon. And as you start to toast these seeds, They don't smell as much right now, but they start to release the oil. And they start to taste and smell amazing. So Sam's going to give me a thumbs up in a minute when the kitchen starts smelling good. There we go. There we go. Something that's not massively traditional in curry, but I think everyone's got them in their pantry, is bay leaves. They add a really good sort of aniseed flavour, so I'm going to add in 2 or 3 bay leaves. Dried ones, once again, cheap chips. And for me, I'm a chilli fan. You like chilli, Sam?
Yeah.
Wicked. So this is a real personal touch. If my wife was having this, I wouldn't add it. But I am a chilli freak. And what we're doing here is we're just sweating this down. And this is the thing where most people stuff up in their curries, is they don't cook this courageously enough. They don't spend enough time cooking down their onions and their spices. That's where you're going to get a massive amount of flavour into your dish. And the last thing I'm going to add in is probably about a tablespoon of turmeric powder. Turmeric is, as we know, an amazing antioxidant, but it's going to add the most amazing colour as well. And just a slight, subtle sort of savouriness to your curry. Now what you might need to do, every now and then, is add a splash more oil. Just use your intuition. If you feel like it's starting to stick, splash more oil. Remember, we're cooking for a lot of people here, so calories are minimal when you think of that all divided up amongst everyone. This is the secret to a curry. Come look at this. It looks like this is about to burn, and it is, but that's where the flavour is. If you can take it to the edge there confidently, that's where you're going to get the most flavour out of your spices. So we're going to stop that frying now. A little bit of chicken stock. I've just used like a stock cube, but you're very welcome to use a packet or even some of your homemade chicken stock. And what we're going to do is we're going to scrape off that kind of crusty layer at the bottom. You get your wooden spoon in there, scrape it off. You can see the pot's nice and clean now. Because now that flavour incorporates into our curry. So, this is where we're going to start making our sauce. Very, very simple, guys. Tin of tomatoes going in. We're going to throw in some red lentils, some split lentils, about a handful, 2 handfuls of them. That's just going to slightly thicken up the dish. And let's go one more. And add a little more bulk, a little more protein to it. You're very welcome to make the whole dish with just lentils. And then what I'm going to do is just add another sort of couple cups of water. And that right there is going to be our sauce. So what we'll do, you could absolutely take this sauce, cook it for a couple of hours or about half an hour, add some coconut milk at the end, and then freeze it down and you get a curry sauce for everyone. What I'm going to do is add my chicken back in, and we're going to create a beautiful chicken curry. So the chicken will cook into it and will add flavour to the sauce, vice versa. But what you can absolutely do is make the sauce up first, then add in some leftover veggies or some raw chopped up salmon or fish or whatever you like, or just go completely lentil based. And right here, guys, I'm going to leave that to simmer for just about half an hour, 45 minutes. At the very end, I'm going to add in some coconut milk. I'll show you that later on. We'll get the best curry ever for very little effort. Alright, so we've been cooking our curry for about, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes now. And if you look at it, all that chicken's starting to break down. It's got a nice thick, it's a bit steamy, but it's got a nice thick tomato-y lentil sauce. At this point, you completely have it as it is. What I'm going to do is actually add in half a tin of coconut milk, not the whole thing, and just warm it through. So that's coconut milk, not coconut cream. Half a tin's going in there, and that's going to make this look and taste like one of your luxurious kind of Indian takeaway curries. All I want to do is just heat that up and then just thicken it a little bit. And the last thing I'm going to do, that might surprise you a little bit, is if you join me in my freezer, I'm going to add in some frozen vegetables. These things are amazing. They're actually probably higher in nutrients than fresh vegetables that you get in the shops, because these have been snap frozen on the farm rather than being refrigerated and then brought on a truck and then on a boat and then sitting in your supermarket for a week. These are pretty much like a few hours old. So really, really good to have in your freezer and beef up your, your vegetable content. So I'm chuck in a couple cups of frozen broccoli and cauliflower. And you can see this curry right here, it's looking absolutely phenomenal. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes to warm through that coconut milk, taste the seasoning, and we're done.